Hey guys, it is Mr. NHL back with another episode of the Between the Boards podcast. Now, this is episode 2, and I really want to dive into today the prospects in Edmonton. Now, this podcast is not just focused on Edmonton, it is also focused on the entire NHL. So, leave a comment, because now you can leave comments on Spotify or even YouTube, depending on where you're hearing it, to see what else you want to see on the podcast. And I'm also in the works for getting other guests, also on the podcast. Now, today we're going to be talking about the Oilers prospects. A major one I want to discuss today that I really feel like a lot of people haven't talked about is, if we look at my past couple YouTube videos, you can check me out at Mr. NHL. I have been covering a lot of prospects recently, and it's not saying I get backlash for it, but it's a couple interesting things. First of all, we should mention that Noah Philp has been added on to the Edmonton Oilers. Noah Philp is a player who is, in my opinion, a very well-rounded fourth line centerman. Is he a centerman? I believe he's a centerman. But Noah Philp is a very well-rounded hockey player, I would say. And his journey to the NHL has been very, very interesting. I have covered him in a video, so you can go check that out on my my actual YouTube channel if you want to learn more. But I think Noah Philp being added to the Oilers lineup has been absolutely legendary for the Edmonton Oilers. It is something that the Oilers desperately needed in terms of depth defensemen, and I feel like if you have a fourth liner and you barely notice that they're a fourth liner, I think that's better, you know? Like, in the NHL, if you have like a fourth or third liner that's like, you can barely even notice them, I think that's better than actually noticing them, because then usually if you actually notice them, it's more like, they're sucky, they suck in the fourth or third line. So I think it is better to just, have a fourth liner center that's really strong and you barely even notice him. Another thing we should also mention is other prospects. Matt Savoie has been a topic of discussion lately, and especially on my channel. I've covered a second video on him now, and Matt Savoie is a very interesting prospect. He is a guy that was drafted by the Buffalo Sabres, and his entire kind of journey, like, he was born in 2004. This guy is literally only 21 years old. He is not that old, but his performance on teams such as the Moose Jaw Warriors, which is 2023-2024 in the WHL, in 23 games played, he had 19 goals and 28 assists. That is bonkers. And currently in the Bakersfield Condors, in the AHL this season so far, with 33 games played, 10 goals and 17 assists. He surely has slowed down a bit, but not to say he's not a good player. He is doing very, very well as a centerman as well. But I would say, if in terms of NHL quality, I would say Noah Philp probably has a better chance than Matt Savoie. We saw Matt Savoie at the beginning of the season, a little bit of the preseason as well. Seeing him play, I don't think it's up to par as Noah Philp, because Noah Philp is pretty confident. He's had an NHL shot before, and he's had those chances, and he's proven to the Edmonton Oilers that he can easily replace someone like Derek Ryan on the team. Now, we should talk about the Oilers playing the Vancouver Canucks later today, as the podcast will release. So the Oilers play the Vancouver Canucks later today. And there's some news that I also want to mention about the Oilers versus the Vancouver Canucks. This is going to be a very interesting matchup, in my opinion. So today is Hockey Night in Canada, and we'll have to see what happens in today's Hockey Night in Canada. I believe the opening lineups have been released, so I'll have to check. I'll have to check that. So I'll have to check if the opening lines are posted, which I believe they are. But hold on. Let me just check it, because I believe, I hope the opening lineups are posted, because then we could talk about it. No, I don't think we have the opening lineups. Yeah, I don't think we have the oh, do we? Hold on. Oh, we do. Okay, so the Oilers of Vancouver, they are loading up. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the left wing, Connor McDavid in the center, and Zach Hyman on the right wing. Yeah, RNH on the left wing. So the first line is pretty interesting. This is obviously a very strong line. They've been playing together for so many games, and it makes sense why they're together. Like the first and second line really haven't moved because the second line is Podkolzin, Draisaitl, and Arvidsson. Both the top six is very, very good in my opinion. They are a strong, confident lineup. And in the third and fourth line, we have something a little different here. We have Janmark, Henrique, and Brown. I know Brown and Janmark have very good chemistry together, and Adam Henrique, sure, he's a good centerman, but I think Father Time is honestly coming to get to him. Last season, he was very, very good, but this season, he's kind of turned down to a third liner. Fourth line, we have Jeff Skinner, Noah Philp, and Corey Perry. Now, Jeff Skinner finally making a return to the Oilers lineup with Noah Philp and Perry. The Oilers also have 2 healthy scratches, I guess, which is number 1. Well, so Derek Bryan scratched because Noah Philp is replacing him, and Kapanen. I don't know about Kapanen. If we think about, Kapanen, in my opinion, is a very good player. I think the Oilers have done kind of a bad job. Because I think Kasperi Kapanen has done a very good job on the Edmonton Oilers. I wouldn't say his performance is bad. Like, if we look at his stats, he's like 28 years old. In 24 games played, he has 4 goals and 3 assists. But Kapanen has that speed that the Oilers desperately need. If we look at the lineup, with Jeff Skinner, Philp, and Perry. Perry's slow. He's very slow. He's very old. Noah Philp is fast, so I don't know how that lineup might happen. Adding Kasperi Kapanen in exchange for Kapanen, maybe like if we switch some like Kapanen and I guess Perry, because the Oilers lineup really needs to get faster. The Oilers are one of the oldest teams in the NHL, and we really need to fix that. If this team is continuing to become older and older, it's not going to look good. Also, guess what? We have Skinner getting the start, and Skinner's done a very good job. I also made a video on that, but Stuart Skinner, and very, very good. But scratching Kapanen for Brown, in my opinion, is pretty insane. You know, the coaching staff keeps giving him chances like this. It's turned into something kind of interesting. But another thing we should also mention is, when will Killingberg be ready to join the team? Killingberg, who is a new addition to the Edmonton Oilers, who just got signed, it's a free agent defenseman to a 1-year contract. Killingberg has scored 81 goals and 331 assists in 633 career games. Killingberg. This guy is from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it is very, very interesting. And I would say adding Killingberg has been on the defense will be absolutely massive. He could probably be a bottom sixer, but I think it's still a good player to add on. I also want to talk about Vasily Podkolzin. Has been a very solid addition to the Edmonton Oilers. He plays, and this is quoted from Bob Stauffer on Twitter/X, he plays a simple, hard, and direct game. He retrieves the puck on the forecheck, strong work back to the puck defensively. And these are the stats. He has 6 wins, 12 losses, and 18 overtime losses since joining. 18 overtime losses. Who's a plus 12? I know a lot of people don't put much credibility into plus minus, but I think that's still a pretty good stat with 45 games played. And his team, leading 90 hits, accounts for 16.6% of Edmonton's hit this season. And this is pretty pretty interesting in my opinion. And the Oilers being able to do something like this is crucial. Having someone like Podkolzin being able to hold on to the lineup, being able to continuously gnaw away at that puck is something that the Oilers desperately need. And I think it's something the Oilers can obviously work on. And, okay, so we've talked about the Oilers and we've talked about their prospects. I really want to talk about something else, which is Alex Ovechkin. Alex Ovechkin. Wow, this guy is a Russian machine. And we'll see how many Alex Ovechkin is away from Gretzky. How many goals away is Alex Ovechkin from beating Gretzky's record? Now, as of... Hold on, let me just check. We'll have to see. I'm just going to check, but Alex Ovechkin is... I believe he's very, very close to beating Wayne Gretzky's goal record. Hold on, I'll have to check. How many goals does he have in his career? I'm gonna have to check. Hold on. We're checking We're checking both stats. Okay, so Wayne Gretzky has 894. Wayne Gretzky has 894 goals, and Alex Ovechkin has 874. That is a 20-goal difference. Whoa. Alex Ovechkin is scoring at a pretty crazy pace here. With 29 game plays, he has 21 goals and 12 assists. Alex Ovechkin is not slowing down anytime soon. This guy is pretty insane in my opinion. Him hitting like 874 goals, only being 20 goals off of Wayne Gretzky, he actually might be passing. He actually might pass the goal record against Wayne Gretzky this season. I would say that's a legitimate possibility. I would say it's not out of reach. Like, Alex Ovechkin is a mighty player, and I would say it would be able to happen. Alex Ovechkin is a Russian goal-scoring machine and is absolutely insane to me, the pace he's scoring at. And, okay, we should talk a little bit about my thoughts on the Edmonton Oilers. So, the Oilers right now, let's just talk about a general discussion here. The Oilers, 2 nights ago, I believe. No, is it last night? No. Okay, I can't remember. But when the Oilers played their last game against the Colorado Avalanche, they made a comeback after being down 3 goals. The Oilers came back from a 3-goal deficit against the goalie Mackenzie Blackwood. Mackenzie Blackwood has not let in more than 2 goals. Since joining the Colorado Avalanche, and the Oilers managed to score 4 goals on Mackenzie Blackwood. This is very interesting in my opinion. Just being able to have this kind of thoughts. If the Oilers are able to put up with that big of an offensive talent, that is absolutely bonkers. Plus, the Oilers are second in the Pacific Division. But they are so close to becoming first in their division. If we look at the division stats, as of January 18th, the Oilers will play today. The Oilers have 61 points. Same with the Vegas Golden Knights. They both have the same number of points. The Oilers have the same number of games played as the Vegas Golden Knights. The Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights have the same points percentage. So, what happens? How is Vegas higher than that? I'll have to look it up, but they are tied in basically virtually all stats. Another thing we should also mention is the Oilers. Another thing we should also mention is the Oilers goaltending. The goaltending on the Edmonton Oilers is a pretty good tandem, in my opinion, with Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. They both make crucial stops. Calvin Pickard is obviously a backup, and he'll probably be always a backup. And I would say having Stuart Skinner is pretty interesting. Because having Stuart Skinner, he is a very... there's been a lot of hate on Stuart Skinner. And I mentioned this in my last episode, but Stuart Skinner has been very, very good. Hold on, I'm just searching up how does a team get first. And points are the same. Hold on. So it's broken down by most wins in regulation. Let's check that stat right now. Wins in regulation. Right. Okay, there we go. Vegas has 26 regulation wins, and the Oilers have 22 regulation wins. Okay, we're learning new things here. So yeah, that's what's going on there. But like I mentioned about Alex Ovechkin, the Washington Capitals are first in the entire league on a 3-game win streak. Now this is pretty crazy. Like, who would? Okay, if you asked me last year, saying the Washington Capitals will be leading the division like halfway into the season, I would not believe you. Winnipeg is second in the entire league, and I wouldn't put too much confidence in that because they always mess it up in the playoffs. We all know that. Number 3 is Vegas Golden Knights, then the Edmonton Oilers, then the Minnesota Wild. Like, these are some stacked teams, but surprisingly, the Vancouver Canucks suck this season. They are 19th in the entire league. Not to say that's not bad, but like they are not near anything. And some surprising faces we see in the top. I would really like to point out Minnesota Wild being 5th in the entire league. Another thing I also want to mention is the Ottawa Senators making a crazy comeback from being 28th in the league almost like around that spot last year, and this year being 14th. The Ottawa Senators are putting up some impressive points. And well, we have the New York Rangers. Yep. They being 24th, and the Utah Hockey Club being 25th. They're usually supposed to have good starts, but whatever. And we have Chicago Blackhawks keeping the bottom of the NHL warm. But, the National Hockey League right now, there have been a lot of teams that are suffering ups and downs. And especially, I'd like to mention the Nashville Predators, who are still third last in the entire league. Like, whoever expected that? Like, everyone thought they would be one of the best dominant teams in the entire NHL, and they just mess it up, But they're also I also want to give a special shout out to Montreal and Calgary Flames for being 17th and 18th in the entire league. And especially Columbus Blue Jackets being 15th, making a little bit of a comeback here. And the Columbus Blue Jackets, this is very honorary, are on a 6-game win streak. The Columbus Blue Jackets are on a 6-game win streak. And right now, they are playing the New York Rangers. And in my opinion, if I know anything about the New York Rangers, the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to have a 7-game win streak. But yeah, they won 4-1 to the Sharks, 3-2 to the Flyers, 2-1 to the Blues, 6-2 to the Kraken, 4-3 to the Penguins, 6-4 to the Blues. Like, okay, fine, these are some mediocre teams, but the Blue Jackets are still putting together some good wins. And I believe their win streak might go up to 8 until they suck, because if they'll probably win against the Rangers today, then lose against the Islanders, the New York Islanders. Well, not lose. I mean, win against the New York Islanders, but lose against the Maple Leafs. So yeah, the Blue Jackets have a bit of a run here, and it's kind of resurfaced their entire team. But yeah, there have been surprising faces in the top, and that's kind of the primary focus of the Between the Boards podcast episode today, is the amount of like unexpected teams back and forth being number one and just having a well-rounded NHL. Like this year, all of the NHLs all of the teams in the top, I would say top 15 are very competitive, and they're all very good. All the teams in the NHL this season are absolutely astounding, and I think all of them, I would say, mostly have a chance. I mean, I also want to, this is a little bit of a leak for people who are actually listening to the podcast, is I'm going to cover, I want to cover other videos, like, so, you know how my username is called Mr. NHL, but I don't really cover much of the NHL? I mean, I really want to mention that I will be covering more NHL content on my main channel, and I really want to cover more of the PWHL, because they are a very interesting league. But other than that, the Oilers are going to have a main focus on the podcast. If you want to see any other teams being discussed, I will. I'm in the works with getting Nathan Bame and Stuart Skinner on the Spotify podcast Between the Boards and YouTube as well. So, this will be a very interesting rest of the podcast. For the last, I'll say around 8 minutes, I'll probably want to talk about the situation in Calgary. Now, Calgary, you're wondering, oh, what situation? No, it's not really a situation. I'm just saying, the Calgary Flames have been playing some interesting hockey, all led by one goalie, and that goalie is Dustin Wolf, who has crazy jumps that I can't even believe his knees survived that. Anyways, yeah, Dustin Wolf has really been leading the pack in Calgary, and he's really been making those saves when they are crucially needed. Dustin Wolf is a very elite goaltender, which I believe the Calgary Flames will want to mature him, or they might do the Uno reversal and put him up for any signings. And if they do put him up for signings, a team I really want to see pick Dustin Wolf up, the Edmonton Oilers or the Montreal Canadiens. Well, I know the Montreal Canadiens have an excess of goalies, but it would be interesting to see an NHL almost starter in Montreal and even Edmonton. I know there hasn't been an Oilers and Edmonton trade since a while back, but it would still be interesting to see Dustin Wolf on the Edmonton Oilers. Because their goaltending has obviously been criticized a couple times, and not to say it's bad, but you know they could have some more reliable stuff with Dustin Wolf. But yeah, the Calgary Flames also on the Calgary Flames roster is a couple players that I kind of want to shout out and give some attention to on the channel, on the podcast, I mean. So, for the Calgary Flames, they have some very interesting statistics. If we look at the team stats, leading the entire team is Jonathan Huberdeau. He in 44 games played, he gave 18 goals and 32 points. Now, this may not seem like a lot, but what's interesting about this is that basically everyone is contributing to the Flames team. Nazem Kadri, 15 goals, 14 assists. Matt Coronado, 10 goals, 13 assists in 39 games. Connor Zary, 10 goals and 12 assists for 40 games. 9 goals and 13 assists. So, like, this is Mackenzie Weegar, who's a defenseman, 5 goals and 17 assists. So everyone is at least pitching in a little bit, and especially Dustin Wolf with a .914 save percentage and a 2.57 goals against average. So this might seem a little high, but Dustin Wolf is a confirmed good starter, and I would say the Calgary Flames would really want to roll with them. It is also crucial to point out something about the Calgary Flames almost situation there. Their coach has installed a thought of their coach has installed a sense of urgency to the Calgary Flames. They want to make something like a cup run. They want to make something happen in Calgary. They're sick of being a rebuilding team. They're sick of just playing mediocre hockey or bad hockey. And I feel like that locker room in there, like I can't confirm. This is just like speculation. That they really want to step things up. They want things to actually happen in Calgary, and I wouldn't blame them. Their team has been through a roller coaster, and it would be very exciting to see the Calgary Flames, back in the playoffs. Imagine the Oilers and Calgary Flames playoff round. Like, that hasn't happened maybe for a couple of years, but the Oilers really, it would be really fun to see the Calgary Flames compete again, because this team has been kind of rebuilding for a bit of time. And on the note of rebuilding, the Montreal Canadiens have been astounding this season. Whether it is, like the news is saying, the younger kids, Suzuki saying, let's try our hardest to make the cup this year. But it's interesting. Like, all these young prospects, they're continuing to fight for it. Especially I watched a hockey psychology video, and go check out Hockey Psychology. They're an amazing channel if you haven't already. They have some pretty crazy breakdowns. But players like Lane Hudson, they have been like Lane Hudson, the defenseman, has been like a mini Quinn Hughes. He has been developing into a strong player that is able to continuously make strong plays, and the people up front are also really good. Like, Nick Suzuki is able to finish. We all know that. Arbor Xhekaj. There are so many good pieces on this Montreal Canadiens team, and all they're waiting for is a breakout season just like this. Marty St. Louis has installed, even more than the Calgary Flames, that they want to make something happen in Montreal, because they still are a rebuilding team, and as a rebuilding team, they know that they won't have Nick Suzuki. They won't have Nick Suzuki forever, and they really want to utilize him when he is still in a strong bit of his prime. Because having star players like that on your team will be crucial for the Montreal Canadiens to actually do something. But like, they've gotten most of the pieces. They have good goaltending. Montreal has a crazy amount of goaltending. They have a crazy amount of they have an excess amount of goaltending, and they could really be used for assets. Currently, the Montreal Canadiens are getting a bunch of prospects, and they're kind of just waiting for the prospects to develop and turn into, hopefully, strong players for the Montreal Canadiens, and to develop their team even more. Now, the Montreal Canadiens have been, it's surprising how they've handled through the allegations in the locker room and everything, and a bunch of like news like headlining them saying like their coach is gonna be fired. And I mean, it must be like Marty St. Louis has been a coach there in Montreal for such a long time, and a lot of Montreal fans are also speculating, like, is it the players that's the problem, or is it actually Marty St. Louis? Because they see like the Montreal Canadiens have all of these like prospects, they have all of these like pieces, but is it just Marty St. Louis who can't put the puzzle together? That's a lot of speculation on the fans' end, but I would say that Marty St. Louis is doing a very good job handling this team and getting them to grit out and getting them to deal with tough situations as younger players. The Montreal Canadiens are doing a good job, and they just have to keep working at it, and they just have to find some chemistry together as a team and get something going for them, because, goalie situation here and player situation here, the younger players really need to learn, and in Canadian market, just to box out the news, just kind of think about themselves. And yeah, that's it for the episode 2 of Between the Boards podcast. Comment down below on Spotify or YouTube. What do you think of episode 2? And if you are from Spotify, consider checking out my YouTube channel called Mr. NHL on YouTube. And I'll see you guys next time for another episode.